Okay, today we're at our local big box store to buy a water softener. Now, water softeners are actually one of the easiest things to install in plumbing. All you need to purchase is these two hoses right here. Okay, and the rest of the tools are very generic, but you may need a pipe cutter if you're dealing with copper pipes in the home. And if you don't have copper, then you're lucky, you have plastic, and this install is going to be even easier, so you're going to need one of these. Okay, so before you go to the store, it's very important you know the size of your main water pipe. So most of them are going to be 3/4 inch, okay, and that 3/4 inch is going to connect right here. But you need to know because it could be a 1 inch and it could be a 1/2 inch, and the best way to tell is to go to the valve, and I'll show you right now.
See, it says 3/4 upside down. Alright.
So yeah, unless you got a big home, it's one of those two sizes. Make sure you know the size before you go out and buy this fitting. And that's the size you're going to need to connect your Sharkbite fitting. Water softeners come in all different sizes. You can get them from 30K all the way up to 60K and even more if it's a commercial sized unit. For most homes, 30K is going to be enough. For a bigger home, you're going to want 40 to 44K. The difference between the size and water softener is how much resin is in there and how well it actually softens your water. So the bigger the softener, the better your water will be softened. The line at the bottom there. Just gonna lift out. And you can keep it in there to just slide it around easier. Before you move it, I'd take out the parts inside. And just grab your hose out. Bag of parts. And you can move it and then remove the cardboard after you. Okay, so when you open up your Whirlpool softener, you should have these things. So you'll have the 1 inch adapters. Okay, there will be 2 of them with 2 clips. Sometimes they give you an extra one. You'll have your water tester, and that'll test how hard your water is at the end. And then what we have here are the 4 O-rings, lubricant package. And then this is for the emergency drain, this fitting, this elbow here, 2 clips, and that's what you use to secure the hose for the drain and the emergency drain. So that's this, your Whirlpool softener also comes with this bypass valve here. Okay, just check and make sure it's not cracked or damaged at all. That's what the water softener comes with, and then obviously the booklet. If you buy 15 of these bottles, you can get a 5-year warranty on your product, but just make sure you buy it on the same receipt as when you purchase your Whirlpool softener. And this just tells you how to go and register your product. And then the tools you need right here: channel locks, multiple screwdriver, small cutters, pipe cutters that can cut up to 3/4 inch pipe. Just a flathead, X-Acto blade, 10 inch adjustable wrench. Now what we purchased here is a 1 inch female by 3/4 inch copper. Well, this is actually Sharkbite fitting. You can use it for copper or for plastic. So what we're gonna do is pop that plastic insert out. Because we're using it on copper, we don't actually need that, and it can actually interfere. So we're gonna take that little white plastic piece out. I prefer it over the generic lubricant that they give you. It's just a super lube. It's good for all sorts of things, so I'd recommend picking that out. What we're gonna want to do, just because the mechanical room's tight, is we're gonna prep everything out here. Okay, we've already disconnected the old softener, and then that way when we go in, the water's only off for a few minutes, and it's a quick install, and we have more room and more light out here, so we're gonna do it out here. And like I said, we're gonna take our hose. It's 24 inch, 1 inch female thread, and this is what we're connecting to the house line. Okay, so we're gonna pop this out here. We don't need that, so you just take your flathead And you pop that out. Just gently, make sure you don't damage. There's teeth inside there, you make sure you don't damage those. Okay, it comes out just like that. Do that to this one. Okay, as you can see, the teeth are in good shape. Now what we're gonna do, take our 10-inch, our channel locks, we're just gonna tighten this on. And these have the rubber gaskets in there, so you don't actually need any Teflon tape. Just hand tighten it first. So after it's hand tight, we're gonna go half turn like that, and this is plastic thread, so you just want to go easy on it. You can always tighten it later, but you don't want to crack the threads there. Okay, so I give that a half turn after it's hand tight, and that should be good, and we'll do that with the other one. Now those are just about ready. So what we're going to do is we're going to put them in the bypass valve now, so you'll need to grab 2 of your O-rings. Okay, the bypass valve and the clips. And how it works is you lubricate the O-ring, you put it in there, and then it just fits on there like that, and then the clip goes in there. Okay, so we're just gonna lube up those O-rings and put that on. On here. Any excess will get washed off when the water softener is doing a recharge, but if you don't have enough, you'll have leaks. So put that in there like that. And you'll see, you can see it, and then just compress. You should feel it pop in, and then that's how it's in. I'm just gonna do that to the other one. Just like that. So that's what it looks like. Alright. We're just going to take our plastic clips, and you got to be careful you don't break these because they're just plastic. Just start at one end, gently stretch it over, and it'll just clip in there like that. Okay, it's fully engaged. All 3 sides of this are going to be in. Do the same for the other one. Take our last 2 O-rings, and we're going to get them on the bypass valve here as well. Same idea as last time with the lubricant, generous amount. So we'll do that. gonna go back in the mechanical room, then we're gonna throw the bypass valve on. Mechanical room, water softener is there. So we're just gonna pop off the lid, and it's just, you just lift that up. Okay, and then you just tilt it forward gently. Watch out, there's electronics on the front of there, so you just keep it tilted up like that. Okay, our AC adapter is gonna be on with a rubber band. Remove that for now. Don't plug it in yet, just keep it off to the side. Okay, and these clips work just like the other ones do. So just make sure you don't get them mixed up. These ones will be on already. They should be on already. The other ones will be, although I believe they're the same size. It's tricky to do with one hand here. But there's one. Okay, there's the second one. And then put it into you, and you're gonna want to hold against the body here. You'll feel it engage like that, and then once you can't see the rings, that means it's in. Okay, so we're just gonna throw those clips back on. I'm gonna use two hands for this so I don't break it, but I'll be back. Okay guys, I'm back. So as you can see, the clip is on there, and it'll have a bit of wiggle room, but it won't leak. Okay, that's just how the O-ring design is. Now what we've grabbed here is our long black hose that was included. Okay, and basically there's two drains on your water softener. You have your direct drain, and then on the back side here, this is an emergency outlet. So this one is just in case it overflows. It's just a backup measure. What I suggest is, say this hose and the drain you need to get it to aren't long enough. Okay, install this one first, and then the other one you can go out and buy more hose if you need to, but this is your important one. Okay, that's just the emergency one's important too, but this is the one where the water is going to be shooting out of during the regen, so put that one on first. So we have our lube here again, and take that, just gonna put a little bit the inside of that hole there, but essentially when that's lubed up, we're going to take this little clip here. The clip is going to go on about 2 inches, so it's past these the barb fitting there. You're going to slide the hose on. Okay, and once you slide that hose on, you're going to take your channel locks. I'll probably be able to show you that part, but then you're going to move the clip so it's hooked in to this middle barb there. Okay, that's the ideal spot for the drain, that middle barb there, and it'll never leak. Okay, so now we're back. What we're gonna do, like I said, just gonna take our channel locks and we're gonna compress the ends there, and we're gonna shoot for that middle barb there. There we go. So right there, release. Now it's on that second barb there, it's locked in, and we're just gonna feed the hose into the drain there. I guess we're not gonna put it in yet. We're gonna get it nearby, and once we get our water softener in place, then we'll cut the hose. They have to put this fitting on, so lube up where it's gonna be going in. And then work it around. You start at one side. Okay, and it pops in like that. And this elbow we talked about. So we're actually gonna put the hose on first before we put that in there, just so we can work on it at an easier angle. Okay, once we get that hose on, it's the exact same as that one. We're just going to stick that in there. I'll be back. So we're about ready to turn off the water now. So here at the water meter, the main water line, and what you're going to want to do is turn off the water to the home there. Okay, and then we're going to want to relieve the other water here. Yeah. So the handle broke off on this, but we're just going to use our channel locks and turn the stem right there, let out the water so that it doesn't make a mess when we're there. And it helps to open up a few faucet lines, so maybe the one upstairs and the main floor and the basement one as well, and then that'll let the water out of the system so you don't make a mess when you cut into there. Okay, so our water is off and we have opened up a couple faucets, so we're just going to open up this valve now. Make sure you leave this one open. There should be two valves before and after your water meter. So your water meter will be wherever the pipe is coming into the ground and feeding your whole house. Alright, so you leave this one open so the water can drain out, obviously. And then where we're going to be tying into is right around here and here. Okay, so your house is either going to be copper pipe like this is, or it's going to be plastic. Now this hose you can use on either. See, it works on plastic homes, which would be around homes that were built after 2000, or copper. The only thing it won't work on is galvanized pipe, and typically you don't see that unless the home's 50 years or older. And galvanized iron is pipe that is this color and it's joined together with threads like this. It's very heavy. It's a galvanized color. Yeah, you don't really see many of those anymore. Houses are either copper or they're plastic. So copper, you're going to use this little red cutter, okay, for tight areas, and this one, it says that I can cut 1/8 to 7/8 diameter. So chances are, if your home is under 2,500 square feet, it'll be either 3/4, which is this, or 1/2 inch pipe. Here is copper, right? It's 3/4 copper. And if you don't know the size of the pipe, you can typically find a valve here, and it'll say on the valve somewhere.
See, it says 3/4 upside down.
Alright, so yeah. Unless you got a big home, it's one of those two sizes. Make sure you know the size before you go out and buy this fitting, because this is for 3/4, right? So I knew the size of the pipe before I purchased it. That does matter, but like I said, it can work on plastic or copper pipe. And if you have plastic pipe, it's a lot easier. You just use one of these cutters. Okay, don't use an X-Acto knife. You want to make a nice straight cut with one of these cutters. They're about 15 bucks, but use it to cut. Use it to cut these kinds of pipes too, right? So it'll be called plastic PEX pipe. If it's PEX or Wurzbo, it doesn't matter. It's the same thing essentially as far as the Sharkbite goes. Okay, so they're the same size, and it'll work with this fitting just fine. So we have 3/4, and we're gonna make our cut so that our pipe isn't gonna be kinked when it goes into there. Okay, so we're gonna do that, and before we cut in, we're gonna actually open up that bypass valve there and let any excess water out, because I couldn't actually get that bar off of there, so I want to make sure no water at all is going to be getting there. So we're going to open up that bypass, and we're going to cut our pipe, push our Sharkbite on, and then we're almost done. So just one more point that I wanted to point out to you guys. As you can see here, the water's coming off the meter, and it tees off right here. And what this tee off is going to be for any of your lines outside, okay, any water that is going to be drinking water, that is what this tee off is going to feed, okay? So that it's important that if it's a new installation, that this tee off is made available for your outside and your drinking water. You don't want to be drinking soft water, okay? So that goes there. I mean, ideally you get a check valve, so none of it goes back in, but it's you never see that. Okay, it's not a requirement, but make sure that's teed off, and make sure if there's never been a softener in your home, it'll be teed off. And make sure you cut after the tee, which is where we're gonna cut down here. If I were to cut right here, then it would make every single tap, inside, outside, filtered water, to make it all soft, and that's a big no-no. Okay, so I just thought I'd point that out if you don't already have a water softener in your home. Okay, so we just crack the bypass valve and let some water out. There's actually still quite a bit. Slowly open it. Okay, so we have a nice slope here, which means when we cut into this pipe, there should be nothing. Okay, so we're gonna start with cutting into that pipe. What you do, take your cutter, open it up, and we're gonna go right there. Make sure you find a nice round part of the pipe. It's tricky to do with one hand, but basically you can get it over the pipe like that. Make sure the pipe is rolling on the two rollers there, and you're just gonna roll it around and around. Okay, and you just make sure that it's actually gonna be one line and not all over the place. So you just want to make sure you hold it nice and straight when you cut it, and you just slowly tighten it until the pipe is eventually cut. Do it nice and slow. You should go around the pipe maybe about 10 times and slowly tighten it each time, okay? Okay guys, so I actually used a little piece of sandpaper and cleaned off the pipe here to make sure it's nice and clean. And then that way I can kind of see exactly how far in my Sharkbite needs to go. So this is your Sharkbite end here, right? I'll say 3/4 on it. And as you can see, it's clean, and the pipe will go right up to that line there. So you just measure that, and then you mark it there, and then that way you know if your Sharkbite is in all the way. Okay, so the nice thing about these is, as you can see, there's still some water in the system. If we were to solder here, we wouldn't actually be able to until we cleared all the water out. But this new technology. So we're gonna slide our softener into place now. Okay, we have most of our things connected here, and we're gonna make the connections so we make sure we know what's what. So this one here was our, you can reference your old one here, or you can go trace the lines outside. As we can see, this old one here, outlet was on the top and the inlet was on the bottom. Okay, so it'll say out and in. Outlet was on the top. So this one is gonna have to go in there like that. So I'm just gonna push the softener into place, and then I'll make the connection. I need 2 hands for this. I'm just gonna put my phone in my pocket going on. So it's marked out how far it needs to go in there. All right, we're gonna hold against the pipe in one end. Make sure it's nice and square, and you'll feel it engage. Okay, these ones don't go on as easy. And then as you can see, we can tell we're engaged because we're just up to where we marked it off when we cleaned the pipe with the sandpaper. You can see our pipes there. There's no kinks in the line. Okay, it's nice and smooth. All right, we're just about done. We're gonna make sure this is pushed in for bypass, and you'll see the end will be hanging out like that when it's in for bypass. So it's bypass, we're gonna shut off the faucets, and we're gonna slowly open up the water valve. If you don't know which way it opens, you can see that it needs to go to there. So you lift it up. It's nice and easy. Okay, so I have it not even halfway on yet. I'm gonna go over and check our connections. Make sure nothing's going on here. Everything looks good so far. Open it up a little bit more. And we're just gonna leave it on halfway for now. Okay. Looks good so far. Alright. So now what we're gonna do, pull the AC cord. I mean, it's pretty straightforward. You unravel the cord and you put it, so there's a hole in the back and it will slide out the back there. So I'll do that. Okay, so we have our drains in there, and as you can see, this is what I did. The drain they give us and then the old one here is actually a nice tight fit, so we just secured it so they're overlapping for the emergency drain going in there. I just remember what I said, that you want to use the drain they give you and then make sure you can get it all the way to the drain there, and we're just gonna zip tie it all nice like that so it's just draining in and it's not going up and down. Okay, and then this one here we're gonna do, just open up the bypass valve very, very slowly. If you open it up too fast, you could damage the water softener because the air could damage the part. So you just open it up very, very slowly. Okay, so it's open like that. And before we plug it in or add any salt, we're gonna want to do is pour in 5 liters of clean water in the bottom there. And then what we're gonna do after that is add some salt and plug it in. So I'm just gonna pour this in there and I'll be back. Okay, our water softener is on. It looks like the electronics are working all right. So we're gonna set the time, hold this down. So that's the current time, program, hardness, for our region, that's what it's at. Recharge at 2 a.m., that's good. And then this one here, depends on what kind of salt you're using. So and it'll say on your lid here as well the instructions and also how to clean that and do the maintenance on it so it lasts for a long time. Alright, so other than that, looks like we're good. And what we're gonna do is add some salt, and we're gonna throw it through a manual recharge just to make sure everything's firing okay, there's no leaks on the drain, and then we're pretty well done after that. Okay, so we just have we just have it up to salt level 1 right now. It's important to do this when you're first firing it just to make sure that nothing goes wrong, because if there is something wrong with this unit, it's going to be really hard to take out all that salt, right? So we just filled it up to salt level 1, that's why it's flashing. Went through the program, and then we held down that recharge button 3 seconds. So now it's beginning the first phase of 4 phases of the recharge, which is the fill. Okay, so as you can see, tank is filling. So the full recharge process takes about 90 minutes to complete, and it'll take your home about a day and a half to actually have soft water here. And the pellets are best so the salt bridge doesn't form. And then the cleaner that you get with your warranty, you pour in there 4 times a year. And it just goes right in there. You just pop that lid off, and then it goes in there. Make sure that's on when you're doing anything else. So okay, so that's recharging. It should be good, and we'll make sure to test it in a couple days with the testing strip. So the testing strip, you just dip it in for a couple seconds, pull it out, and it'll show you the color, and that color will say how hard your water is. So typically it's green is soft and red is hard, and anywhere in between is somewhere in between. Never get fully soft water with a system like this, but you can get pretty close. So yeah, our water is very hard, so these systems take what they can, but they're not perfect, right? So got our connections going, so we're just gonna pop the lid back on here, and that's that.